Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be filming, or starting to film, because I'm probably going to do this as like a little process, acclimating my tissue culture experiment. So I've never done this. This is the first time. If you guys watched my most recent haul video, I don't know if it'll be the most recent whenever you guys are seeing this, but if you watched one of my haul videos that I did recently, then you would have seen that I got some Alocasia Ninja Albo tissue cultures. And I am going to try to acclimate them now. I've had them for about a week in my care, and I did a little research. So I guess the most important thing with these is making sure you get all of the stuff that's in it off and making sure there's no bacteria. So you need to use like distilled water to do it. So my boyfriend brought me a whole jug of distilled water that he had, and I put it in these freshly cleaned little things, Tupperware containers, and then I have some containers that I'm going to use. So these are fresh off of the print. My mom brings me these little containers from her work, and then I have a dome like this. So I'm thinking I'm going to do like one of each situation because you need to keep it in high humidity. So I think I'm gonna put one in this, and then I'm going to put one in this and put this in my prop box, and we're just gonna kind of experiment. And I think I'm gonna do one in stratum and one in moss just to see. These were not super expensive. While I would love for both of them to live and thrive, this is kind of more of an experiment to see like what works and what doesn't. So I heard that you can do moss soil is like the preferred type of thing, or perlite. But people were mostly say like maybe not soil right away because there can be bacteria in it and stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to go grab some peroxide to put in one of these containers. So what I'm going to do is put peroxide in one of the containers, just a little bit. And I'm going to start by putting these in that mixture to just kind of get all of this stuff off of them and kill any bacteria. And then I'm going to rinse all of that off with one that doesn't have peroxide in it. And then we're just going to pop them up and see what happens. And I will keep you guys kind of updated throughout the acclimation process because I literally have no idea what's going to happen when I open these containers. I'm really excited. I would love to have this plant in my collection, so fingers are crossed that one lives. Even better if both of them live, but I'm going to go into this with limited expectations and think that I'm going to kill both of them. So I have my thing of peroxide here. A lot of things online said, and the instructions that the person sent with these also said to use something different. I think it's more specified for tissue cultures, and she seemed to have she seems to do a lot of tissue cultures and probably invest in that sort of thing, but I don't invest in that sort of thing. So I don't have like the specific thing for tissue cultures. If I ever like really get into this as a hobby, then maybe I would invest in that. But a lot of people said online to use like bleach, but I saw a ton of people saying peroxide in some water just to help kill the bacteria, which makes sense to me because I see people use that for root rot. So I'm gonna use peroxide and we're gonna hope for the best here. So I'm gonna lower the camera for you guys a little bit, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have my containers of water. I'm going to just add a little tiny bit of peroxide to this one here. That's probably good. I'm not measuring anything. I don't really know what I'm doing. So this is not a tutorial. Do not follow what I'm doing if you want your tissue cultures to live. This is just what I'm going to attempt to do with mine. And yeah, like I said, these weren't super expensive. So it's just a fun experiment and a video I can make for you guys. So if you have any advice though, definitely leave a comment down below because in the future, I may want to buy more tissue culture and try again. I'm not opposed to that. Now, I don't have tweezers or anything, so I'm just going to do that and plop it right into the water. And I'm going to do the same with the other one. And this is probably all wrong, and you guys are probably yelling at me through the screen. I apologize greatly. Boom. Okay, I just didn't want to touch them right away. I don't know if I am even supposed to touch them. So I'm just going to let that sit for a little bit. And while I let that sit, I'm going to get my containers prepped. So I'm thinking I will do the stratum in this container, and then I will do the moss in this container. And that's going to be that. So I already have a little bit of stratum in here, and then I need to make up my moss here. So I have a little bit ready to go. This has never been used. I am going to use fresh moss And I'm gonna need to find a container to soak this moss in. So I have my moss here. I actually decided after I already put just a little bit of tap water in here that it's probably best if I use distilled water to do it. So I'm just going to take some distilled water, pour it right into this container and let it soak like that. And as this is really all I'm gonna do. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that complicated of a process. It's just most important to make sure there's no bacteria on the plants. And I also saw that it's important to give like minimal light. You kind of have to acclimate it to the light because tissue cultures are grown in lower light. So that is something else I'm going to keep in mind. I'm probably going to put them on like the bottom of the cabinet. So not the cabinet, but in my prop box section, I have like an upper layer and a lower layer, and the lower layer definitely gets way less light. So that's probably what I'll do with that. And then it said like over a course of like 10 to 14 days, you're gonna want to reduce the humidity some. So that is what I'll do, is a little bit here and there. I'll move them out, open the lid, whatever I need to do to acclimate them a little bit better. So here's the moss ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and take this back over here and make sure everything is getting taken off of here. I don't really know what else I'm supposed to do other than soak it for a little while. I know you're supposed to make sure all of like the goop stuff is off of it. And yeah, that's about all I know. But I'm gonna give you a little look up close. This is what the tissue culture looks like. It does have a really gorgeous root system, so I'm happy about that. And it even looks like there might be a little bit of a cormine situation going on. But that's the Alocasia Ninja Albo. And here's the other one. This one looks less good, but still good. Like this one looks a lot squishier. So I think this is the one I'm way more concerned about. It also has less leaves. I don't want to mess with them too much because I don't really know. So I think I'm just gonna let them sit in there for a few minutes, and then I'll move them over to the other one to just make sure we get everything off of it cleanly, like the peroxide and stuff. I don't want peroxide sitting on the leaves too long. And after that, I guess I'll come back to you guys. I'm filming so many videos today. I also built my IKEA Millsbow cabinet, and I'm kind of in the middle of like putting that together as well. So it's just a very big planty day. And since I have all my supplies out, I'm probably gonna pot up some things and make sure I got all my planty stuff in line because it's Sunday and tomorrow's Monday, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to go back to work, and yeah. So I'm just gonna have some fun with my plants. I've kind of gotten my plant mojo back, which is great. So this is a really fun way to experiment while I have my mojo back and see if I can actually acclimate something and maybe get some cheaper plants because tissue cultures are way cheaper. So that's kind of all this video is. So I will come back to you guys in just a few minutes. So I took them out of the peroxide water and just put them in the regular water, and they've been soaking for a couple of minutes. So, I mean, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pot them up. I have my moss cup. I have my perlite little cup, and I'm gonna put the smaller one in this since it'll fit better, and the larger one in this. And fingers are just crossed, and we're hoping for the best. So let's go ahead and just do it. We'll start with the smaller one here. The smaller one, like I said, has more potential to have already begun like a rotting process. The roots look really healthy. So let me lower you guys again. I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to try to get all the roots to not be crazy. And I'm gonna stick it right on in here. The leaves are facing down, so that's interesting. It's gonna look really crazy. Hopefully it'll find its way where it needs to be. But there we go. That's that one. I'll give it a little drink of distilled water after I'm done. And let's go ahead and get this one in here. I'm not gonna use the same fingers I used for that one, but we're just gonna stick it in a little hole that I made into the moss, like so. And I'll probably add just a little bit more moss on here to cover up some of these roots. Like these. So, I mean, this one looks like it has the most promise, but I'm hopeful that this one will do well as well. I will keep you guys updated throughout the process. These are going to be on heating mats, so they are definitely going to have some heat and humidity going on, because that seems like the most important thing. Like I need to keep them in high humidity. So I'm immediately going to get these on the shelf, and I'll update you guys over the next few weeks to see how they're doing. Hopefully both of them live. But if only one of them survives, I will be very happy with that. So I just went ahead and put a little water in here. We're going to close it up. These things are really great. I have 2 of them. I got them from the plant swap. They came with some cacti in them. So I'm really loving these for my alocasia, like corms and stuff. So I'm going to let that settle in, and I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then I'm going to have some fun with some other planty things that I want to do. And I will see you guys in a little while, probably like a week or so, to show you some updates, unless something happens before then, like they croak. So thumbs up. All right, guys, so it's been a few weeks since I did my tissue culture experiment, and this is where those plants have been living. So let me just pull them out here. It's been a little longer than I thought I would go before I update you guys, but here we are. So this is our moss one. I just put this little dome over it, and I've been like taking it off and checking on it here and there. And the moss one's doing quite well. You can see here, it's, you know, it's live, laugh, and loving. It's had this new growth that has a little bit of brown on it. It's definitely nice and rooted though. None of the leaves on it have died. This one still looks really good. I mean, I'm really happy with the way everything is looking. It's obviously not putting out a new leaf at the current moment or anything, but it is nicely rooted and nothing died. And then let me see. This is the one that I had in stratum. So they've just been on this heating mat. And the stratum one, I think, has a lot more going on for it at the moment. So let's take a look. Yeah, so it looks like there is new growth coming in right here, and it's actually not brown like the other one. So that's cool. And then obviously there's some new fresh fuzzy little roots going on. And then it's like another growth point or a corm or something coming out of it. So it obviously needs a little bit of water. I think it's looking a little dry in the stratum, but it looks really good. It hasn't lost any leaves either. So honestly, this experiment has gone way better than I anticipated. It was way simpler than I made myself believe. So that's really great to know, so I can maybe do some more expensive tissue cultures in the future. But yeah, this is looking the best. So stratum so far, and this little container has been the way to go. But I'm going to give this guy a little bit more water. And I'm going to continue on this experiment until I get at least one new leaf from one of these plants, so I can show you guys kind of what that looks like. But so far that hasn't happened yet. But stratum and moss seem to be going really well. Like they are in there, like they are rooted. So yeah, that's our little update after a few weeks. I'm going to continue to let them do their thing, and then I will show you guys when there's new leaves and conclude the video then. So we are back to our shelf with our tissue cultures, and I have to be honest with you guys, it's probably been about 2 more weeks. I have not been acclimating these the best by like taking the cap off and everything, so that is going to be happening outside of this video. But I think everything is looking good. So this one you can kind of see, hopefully, there is a little tiny growth point leaf happening right there, the moss, and it is very well rooted in here. I did lose one of the leaves out of this one, I believe. So one of them, you know, yellowed off and went bye-bye, but that's okay because there's a little growth point there. And then over here, we have very exciting things happening. So let me open her up. And here we go. So as you can see, we have a new leaf. This lightest one right here is a new leaf that this tissue culture just put out. So I'm so chuffed with that. And there's some new roots coming in, as you can see, the little fuzzy white. So this was the one I was most concerned about because it looked rotted whenever I got it. And honestly, I mean, the base still doesn't look wonderful, but it's not really squishy or anything. And as you can see, there's like another growth point corm situation happening out of there as well. So I'm honestly going to take the covers off of these and let them sit for a little while, probably until I go to bed. And if I don't remember to put them back on, that's okay. I'm sure they're gonna do fine. They're definitely like getting to the point where I'm not too worried about them. You can kind of see a root right there. So they're definitely rooted. There's some nice roots right there. I'm really happy with how these turned out so far. So let me turn you guys around. So I think the tissue cultures were a success. I'm honestly surprised. I was pretty worried. I didn't expect them to be so easy, but I mean, they were easy. So that's really exciting. Now, I did hear that if you buy the kind that are in like, I don't know, somebody said that if you buy like the kind that are in multiples, not just like one plant, you don't have as good of luck as if you just buy one plant. So I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't done enough tissue culture, obviously. This is the first time I've ever done it, but keep that in mind and maybe do a little additional research before you just buy the first tissue culture you see like I did, because I don't want you guys to waste your money. This was just an experiment to show myself and you how easy this could be or could not be before you go out and spend some money on some tissue cultures. It was a lot of fun. I will probably do it again in the future. I kind of am looking into trying to find some contaminated tissue cultures to play around with, because I watched a YouTube video on somebody that would buy contaminated ones, which are a lot cheaper, and rehab them. So that's something that I would be interested in trying to find. I've been looking out for, but I haven't found any yet. If I do it again in the future, which like I said, I probably will, I'll probably go the stratum route opposed to the moss route. Not that there was anything wrong with moss. If you can't get your hands on stratum and you only have moss, I definitely say go for the moss because it still worked really well and I saw some really great roots in there. But the stratum just seemed to work a little bit better for me. And I think that's just because it's one of those rooting agents that has a lot of nutrients and plants just love it. So I really liked that aspect. I am really excited that my new leaf that came in, as you guys saw, had some really nice variegation on it. So that's exciting. Now, another thing that I did read about tissue culture and hear is that they can tend to revert a lot easier than a normal plant. So if they revert on you after a few leaves, somebody was talking about you can actually go in and cut some of the nodes, which is what I've done to one of the ones that I bought. I bought a reverted tissue culture and I went in and I snipped at some of the nodes to hopefully bring some of that variegation back. It's just like regular plants, where if your plant starts to revert, you cut it back to the last variegated leaf and you try to push a growth point out from there. So a video I watched, he said that he did that and he's had luck getting some of the variegation back. So keep that in mind as well. Like if they start to revert and they're still kind of small, go ahead and give them a little chop at the nodes. You can easily see the nodes on the tissue culture. I mean, some of them might be harder than others, but you can definitely see that there are nodes and like little growth points on there. So just look closely. If you have like a magnifying glass or something that you use to look at for pests on plants, use those and look at it and give them a nice little chop with some small scissors and see if you can bring some variegation back to them if you feel experimental. So yeah, I'm really excited for these to someday produce corms and see what happens with that, because you know they're tissue culture, so they didn't come from a corm. So I know that they're going to produce corms, but something about that seems weird to me. So I'm really glad that I did this experiment. If you guys want to see more videos about me experimenting with tissue culture, please leave a comment down below, or leave a comment down below with your experiences on tissue culture, because I'm still very new to this. This worked out for me, so I'm really excited and chuffed about that, but it may just be a fluke, a beginner's luck type of thing. So if you see anything that I did wrong or you have suggestions for me, feel free to leave those in the comment down below too, because I'm here to learn and grow with you guys and my plants. And I think that's all I have to say about these. I'm sure in the future you will see some updates on them in other videos. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. And give this video a thumbs up if you feel like it, and subscribe to my channel for more random content. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!